Hello everyone. I am not a knife collector nor a YouTube reviewer, and I don't even possess particularly many pocket knives. I think I have currently maybe 5 or 6. I am trying to have a purpose for each of my pocket knives, even if it is not daily or it is not particularly a heavy duty use. And one of the knives I got recently that really caught my attention once it was announced is this Spyderco Tuff from DLT Trading. It's an exclusive re-release of edge ramp knife, which I thought is just worth making a short video and saying a few things about it. You of course know what is the size, what is the weight, what is the edge length, what is the edge thickness, coating, and so on. This doesn't really make sense to go through all of that. I rather have a look at properties which might be actually relevant in actual use, and one of them obviously is how the knife sits in hand. And this is where this knife excels above all knives I have ever had in hand. You can get a regular hammer grip very comfortably, very secure. You can put your thumb on the spine, had plenty of room. I have medium sized and skinny hands. You can choke up on the blade. The choil is huge. Even have a glove on anything, you are not going to get over the blade at any point. And you can even comfortably put your index finger over the blade, even though it's relatively wide. But thanks to this negative angle, it is actually fairly easy to get a tip, to get some tip work done if that's what you need. So from this point of view, this knife is excellent. Yes, the blade is thick, it's fairly thick behind the edge, thicker than most knives and definitely considerably thicker at the tip. So we must see how that goes over time. This knife may eventually need a regrind, but that's not something I would start with, obviously, because the coating looks actually really nice. One thing I have noticed on the knife is there is a bit of a lock stick. So you want to disengage the lock. It's completely obviously fresh new. You can feel a bit of a lock stick. The good news, however, is if you open the blade, there is just about right amount of lock, maybe 40%, maybe up to 50%. I have tested it, there is no disengagement chance. We have seen this happening on some of the older original Tuffs. And even if I disengage the lock now and ready to engage, you get much less lock engagement. I still didn't get the knife to fail. So my assumption is the lock is fine and sturdy and reliable. Second point I have noticed, at some of the knives this tends to be the case because of the design, so it's very nicely flowing into the handle. The tip is sitting extremely shallow inside the handle, which in fact means pardon, that you can really catch your finger on the tip. That's just the fact. Am I going to slice myself too much if I push hard? Probably not too much, but you probably cut the surface of your skin. And obviously over time, if you sharpen this knife much, this is going to get worse. And the only remedy will be to gently reprofile the spine. And obviously nobody's going to get too crazy about doing that because you have coated blade and certain blade shape. If you want to keep it, you have to do it really continuously. So yeah, this would be only relevant to people who actually are going to use this blade. I presume most will play with it from time to time. It's fantastic in hand, the feeling is great. So this knife is not going to be a heavy user, even though it's absolutely designed for it and absolutely capable of it. So just to give you an idea about the size in hand, this is the Caribbean, which is shorter, which is a very different knife. Also it sits in hand very well, but this position is not comfortable because it pushes your index finger pretty high. Here it is, of course, much less of an issue. Sorry for all the fingerprints, been playing with it without cleaning it. So this is my short view of this knife. Another point which Taichung Spydercos very often come with sharp everything. Every single edge on the blade, on the hole, on the frame tends to be sharp on the locking blade. This is not the case here. You can actually see that there is a rounding of the inner corner. It's not 100% perfectly even, but it's absolutely fantastic to touch. There is nothing sharp here going to be unpleasant to grip. If you compare this, for example, to the Shambovi folding knife, which has a similar design style. It's a much different knife, but it's also a little bit negative angle and so on. There is sharp everything everywhere. This knife is also fantastically well made, but this one they went a step further and around it all these little things. So you just take it in hand and you say, perfect, just awesome, this sits in hand as it should. And even if you were in the need of chopping and add some proper lanyard, you can actually take the knife by 2 fingers, having the lanyard secure around your hand, and actually do some chopping. Then you get some leverage, light chopping. Whatever life-threatening situation you need a pointed stick, then you can do that with this knife. Certainly more easily with others if chopping movement is that's what is going to get you there. So that would be pretty much it. This is not an attempt to be a review from somebody who's not a reviewer, but I think this knife, if it fits your utility needs, is going to serve you extremely well. So I'm super happy DLT decided and Spyderco supported that of bringing this knife back. It's a very unique knife, and I'm really hoping to see more of these mostly discontinued designer pieces to be brought back, because I think there are some real gems in the lineup of Spyderco which we haven't seen for years, or many of us could never get their hands on because they just entered the game years after the knives are discontinued. So this is absolutely top, excellent knife, very well made, and I think it goes well beyond just a collectible piece. Give it a try.